All right, well, good morning. All right, so hey, we're in a series on the book of James. Some of you may know that. And, I can't get away from, the third chapter. I just can't get away from it. And I think it's because one thing is that it's something that I desperately want more of in my life. We're going to talk about certain scriptures that just talk about the power of our words. And I've been sharing the last few weeks that our words actually shape the course of our lives. And if you really believe that, or you really get that, or you lean into that, you're going to start to see your life take on a whole new direction. And that should be something that's exciting, but at the same time, what we're going to talk about this morning, anytime we go into a new course direction, there comes resistance. And that's, if we're quite honest with ourselves, that's the reason why we're not necessarily looking to get a new course direction. But think about this. Words shape everything we do. Words create, words encourage, words inspire, words bring life. And so I've been wanting to read this scripture to you for so long since we started this series, but it's from John 1, and some of you know this, very, very popular. But I just really want you to get the essence of the power of word. It says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. There's something mysterious about that. That's why I really want you to see that. There's something about this word, this logos, the spoken word that goes forth, that brings forth life. It's how creation started. And he was with God in the beginning, and through him all things, think about that, all things were made. Without him, nothing was made that has been made. In him was life, and that life was the light of all mankind. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. See, this is this idea of word brings forth life. And we talk about this. I love the imagery of the darkness, and that this thing about bringing forth life is literally us being light in the darkness. And this week, I just thought this was such a beautiful picture of that. Some of you see us wearing these t-shirts. These are the Courageous Kids t-shirts. So if you see most of us that were at the camp have them on. And what happened was, I just want to back up a little bit, just to give you a little context, and then we'll show a video. But this past week, Monday through Friday, from 4:30 to 7:30, right in the Bristol Common, there was, I'm going to say, around 110 kids and about 50 volunteers, okay? I would suggest that about 100 kids were from the community. And I would say maybe 20 or 30 volunteers were also from the community. And I want you to hear that because there's this idea of the light going forth. And why I refer to it as darkness is because the whole reason why this started was a couple years ago. Emily, just raise your hand. Emily is with the Health Equity Zone of Bristol and Warren. And one of the members of the community came forth and said, what's happened on the Commons is that there's drug dealers that are actually soliciting the little kids with drugs. And then Emily told me about it. And we were planning on doing a kids camp here anyways, where we just want to have a week where we'd be able to make a difference in kids' lives, right? And just have a great time. But when that need happened, it's like, I looked at that and said, that means there's darkness there. There's something going on there that's not right. And for the church to be the church, we talk about that all the time. It's not a building. It's about going forth into the community and being light. And so, to me, it's so humbling because you watch how so many people from different organizations, different businesses, different churches get together and then go forth and bring joy. And so I want you to just check out this video. We're gonna watch it, and then on the other side of that, Lori and Emily are gonna come up and say a couple words about it. But listen, this is kind of some of the fun snippets that we had. And so, ready, Will? We'll run.
There's also an open drum in front. Looking front. Pull, come on. say the right thing. Thank you, Mom, and bless you, Dad. Excuse me and all those things. I say my prayers, I brush my teeth, but no matter where I go, when I see something I want, I just lose control. Come on, I want that. I want it real bad. Or I'm gonna be real sad. I want that. Give it to me. I want that. 'Cause it's something I really need. But I forgot. Yes, I forgot to say. Oh, it works every time. Makes me feel good. Gives you the goosebumps. Use the word please. Gives you goosebumps. I'm pretty good when I'm at school. I always raise my hand. I try to listen and not to yell. In line is where I stand. But remember when we walked into the store the other day? My eyes grew wide at all I saw. You know what I was gonna say? What?
I want that.
I want that. I want it really bad. I want that. Or I'm gonna be real sad. I want that. Give it to me. I want that. 'Cause it's something I really need. But I forgot. Yes, I forgot to say. All right, let's park it slow. Ready, Cole? We're gonna slow down. Ready? Are you a good boy? Yes, you are a good little boy. Don't I say the right thing? Yes, of course you do all the time. Can I have that? No, you can't.
Who are you?
But why, oh why? Why, oh why? Why, oh why? I want that.
It's not as easy as it looks.
I want that. Or I'm gonna be real sad. I want that. Give it to me. I want that. 'Cause it's something I really need. But I forgot. Make this the best one. But I forgot to say. Yes, you guys rock. Yeah.
Count this down. I'm going to start at 10. You go with me. 10. Okay, that's the match. You're ready to go. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So just so you know, like that last little scene there, so some of you know this, the Goodnight Lights at Hasbro, the little children that are in the hospital. Steve Brosnan had started that, and he just started flashing lights to a young kid that he knew, and the little boy would flash his lights back while he was in the hospital, and it was just his way of saying good night. And so it's actually, over the last 10 years, it's become this big thing. And so that's our way of a tribute that they're gonna show that to these little kids that are in the hospital, and then, you know, what they'll do is put a smile on their face, and then they'll respond by in their rooms, you know, putting on their lights just so they know that there's people out there thinking about them. And I just thought that was like the coolest thing to be able to demo that for all of our kids to do that. I'm going to bring up Lori and Emily, and as I do that, they represent all of us, like, want to give of ourselves and of our time to, you know, we're there Monday through Friday, 4:30 to 7:30 to make this happen. So go ahead, take it away.
Well, that video just filled me up again. I'm so filled with so many emotions. I've been thinking about wanting to thank all the volunteers that were a part of this, and the words keep coming in and out of my head because there's so many emotions that I'm feeling. But basically, I'm so grateful to all the volunteers who gave so much of their time, to Jessica, who led all of us volunteers, put in so much time over the last months to really bring the light into our community. As you could see, the smiles on the kids' faces, the smiles on the adults' faces, both volunteers and families, we really filled that common up with a lot of light, and those kids are still filled. They're going on in their day now and in their days to come, you know, filled with a little bit more love than maybe they walked in, a little bit more confidence, a little bit lighter step to start their school year. So I'm just very proud. I'm proud to have been a part of this initiative, proud to be a part of it, both from the Health Equity Zone side and the Stone Coast side, as I feel so much a part of this community as well, and just really pleased and so grateful for Stone Coast to be able to come into the community and make such a difference. It's going to keep going. We're going to keep coming back with camp. We're also thinking about other programs and other ways that we can keep touching the kids and making a difference. So thank you all. Thank you, especially Jessica, for all your guidance and leadership.
So before I talk about camp, a year ago, we helped start the Bristol Kindness Project through the Bristol Health Equity Zone. And the purpose of that is to bring love and hope to people who need it, people who are going through a bad day, a hard time, a big, challenging life event, anything like that. And one of the ways we do that is through kindness rocks. And while a rock may seem like a humble thing, kindness rocks are made with love, and they carry messages. And we have a kindness rock station. We hope to create more. And I think of this as a service to the community, that anyone who's going through a hard time can go to the Kindness Rock Station and find the message that they need, and they can take that rock with them. And anyone who wants to can make rocks and put it there. So there could be a word or a message that gets you through, and as I've done multiple Kindness Rock making events, I ask people, what are the words that get you through? Or what is your secret of success in life? We interviewed people in nursing homes and asked them, what are your words of wisdom? And we want to put that on rocks and make that available to share, to empower people. All of you have something to offer, and it's pretty easy to make a rock. You just paint it, and the secret easy way is paint pens. Easy to write on a rock. So I wondered this week, how does Jessica do this? How does she do such a perfect and amazing job with impeccable organization and energy and enthusiasm, and calling it like insane fun and things like that? How does she do this? So I asked her, what gets you through? Because I know she has personal challenges that you wouldn't believe, like to watch her be the superstar. And she said her personal message is, you were made for a time like this. So that's beautiful, and I wanted to make her a rock. But in art camp, one of our activities was making kindness rocks, and that her message is like a whole sentence, and we used up all the good rocks. So, so I had to go looking, and I found a rock that was painted with a little bit of words by a camper. And this camper wrote a little bit of words, and there's enough space on it to write Jessica's message around it, so I did. And the words that this camper wrote were live, love, laugh, And it's so cute because he wrote laugh, L-A-P-H, and and that camper is actually her son. So I have this very special rock to present to Jessica.
Thank you. This is beautiful, though. So, no,
That was it.
that was it. Thank you. No, I'm good.
So the thing that we did was the backpacks. I tricked you, so now it's really loud. So every child there got a backpack filled with school supplies. And Rayona wasn't able to be here today, but Rayona is the one who lives on the Common and brought this, this issue to the Health Equity Zone. And you should have seen her just like, she just kept crying the whole time because her heart, she has a vision for her community. And she wants to see these kids. She felt like, she even said, like, this backpack just represents a new start to a new year and a new life. Like, it was that meaningful to her. And like for some of us, like, it's just a backpack. But what she saw was, no, we're equipping these kids with what they need in order to be successful in life. And so, I mean, I could go on, and I encourage you to afterwards get with people that have these shirts on and just talk to them about what happened and hear some stories about it. It was just a phenomenal week, and Jess, thank you so much. I mean, what they said, I couldn't say anything better than that. That's just, it does take leadership. When you want to do things and make a difference in the world, it takes leadership, and you just demonstrated that so well this week, so thank you. Thank you. All right, I'm going to get the mic. We're going to have our reading this morning.
Please stand as you are able for the reading of God's Word. James 3, 2 through 12. If you could find someone whose speech was perfectly true, you'd have a perfect person in perfect control of their life. A bit in the mouth of a horse controls the whole horse. A small rudder on a huge ship in the hands of a skilled captain sets a course in the face of the strongest winds. A word out of your mouth may seem of no account, but it can accomplish nearly anything or destroy it. It only takes a spark, remember, to set off a forest fire. A careless or wrongly placed word out of your mouth can also do that. By our speech, we can ruin the world, turn harmony into chaos, throw mud on a reputation, send the whole world up in smoke and go up in smoke with it. Smoke right from the pit of hell. This is scary. You can tame a tiger, but you can't tame a tongue. It's never been done. The tongue runs wild, a wanton killer. With our tongues, we bless God our Father. With those same tongues, we curse the very men and women He made in His image. Curses and blessings out of the same mouth. My friends, this can't go on. A spring doesn't gush fresh water one day and brackish the next, does it? Apple trees don't bear strawberries, do they? Raspberry bushes don't bear apples, do they? You're not going to dip into a polluted mud hole and get a cup of clear, cool water, are you? May God add His blessing to the reading, hearing, and doing of His word.
Thank you. You may- So I want to pick up in that verse on verses 3 through 5. It's the part that talks about a bit in the mouth of a horse controls the whole horse. And then think about this imagery, a small rudder on a huge ship in the hands of a skilled captain sets a course in the face of the strongest winds. And so I want us to be thinking about in our own lives that we are here to become skilled captains. And what the Bible is saying is how we do that is by mastering what we say. Because as we do that, we become more and more skilled and then literally set the course of our lives. Okay, so has this, you don't raise your hands, but if this has ever happened to you, this is like a picture of when our words aren't necessarily in control. You ever have that thing when your spouse says something to you and it kind of goes through you sideways, and then you have all these things in your head that you know, that are right there that you want to say. And then I don't know if you do this, but the internal battle is like, don't say it. Just don't say it. Sean, whatever you do, don't say that. And then what do? You say it. And you're like, and then you can't, and then I don't even stop there. It's like, don't keep doing, like, just, all right, that was enough. Like, stop. And then it just keeps coming out. And you're like, even as I'm saying, it's like, why am I doing this? You know what I mean? It's like, am I the only one that happens to? And it's like, oh my gosh. But this idea of being a skilled, think about this. If I were more skilled in this, it could literally save a marriage. It could save a child. It could change the trajectory of the course of someone's life. And I just had a couple of illustrations of that because I was like, you know what? Our words have power and they leave an impact. And so I was just thinking about like different illustrations from parenting and how our words actually matter and can shape the whole course of other people's lives. And I would ask you, as I'm giving these examples, maybe you were on the receiving end of this as a child, and maybe you're still even living out the impact of words. And I kind of chose some safe examples in my mind, but say you have a couple of siblings and one child swore at another sibling. You might say, "You disappointed me." And that would have a certain impact on that child's life. You disappointed me. Or you could say, "You're a disappointment." And I want you to feel the weight of that. Just let that sit for a minute. How a child internalizes my words. You're a disappointment. Seems so innocent that, my gosh, it's 3 words. And yet some of us have been on the receiving side of that, and it's actually shaped our lives. Where we play it so safe, I'm unwilling to take any risk because I'm going to just disappoint you. If you only knew about what I've been through and the things in my life, there's no way I can succeed because I'm just going to disappoint you. Because you know what? I'm a disappointment. Something that was said when the child was 7 years old is coming out when they're 35 years old. Or maybe on the better side of it is when the kid swore, you might say, "That was disappointing. Please apologize to your sister and know how much I love you." You don't let it go, of course, right? But there's a whole different way of saying it to address it. And then the other one was, and this is a real simple one, but I've seen people lose it over this when a child spills milk or something, right? Spills soda, spills something on the rug. And we as the adults absolutely lose it. Why? Because we forget it's simply a rug. It's $150 versus the course of a kid's life. And we might say something, "You're so clumsy. Can't you do anything right?" You're a klutz. And then just let that sit. Or we can come around a child and say, "It's just a spill. It's not a big deal. But please clean it up." And know I love you. Words matter. If you're new here especially, anytime if you want the microphone, like you have an example of this, I would love to hear it. So I'm going to continue on. Gail, okay, no, I'm not going to continue on. Come on up. Where's the mic? So I like to hear how this stuff impacts people's lives. Be short and sweet though, okay? Short and sweet. Or at least short.
I'm already short. Oh. So this actually just happened to me. I have a ruby stone, which is a really nice nail file that lasts forever. And one of my daughters borrowed it and was using it and accidentally kneeled on it and broke it. Now, I wasn't home, and when I came home, she came up to me and she told me right about it. And my husband said to me, she was actually crying because she thought you were going to be so upset at her that she broke this. Was I upset? Yes. But I didn't unleash those words to her. I just said, you know what? Accidents happen. I've done it before. I did it to my mom's when it was my mom's. So.
Thank you. And who hasn't done it, by the way? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I thought about as a parent. It's like, how many times have I kicked over something accidentally? It's just an accident. That's why they call them accidents. Anyone on the other side of that have something that shaped your life from the words impacting you? Eileen? Hold on. We're going to keep it tight, though, okay? Yep.
When I was a little girl, my mother was an alcoholic. And even though I'm one of 6 kids, she felt like she needed to discipline me 5 times worse than the other kids. So she used to tell me on a daily basis, multiple times a day, that I was stupid, dumb, and ugly. And I lived with that. And it wasn't until I was in my 50s that I finally said, I'm done. And you know what? God doesn't see me that way, and I'm sorry you do. And that, you know, I can't live under that mess anymore. And it ended up 6 months before she died, she apologized and told me that she should have never said those things to me or treated me that way. But it took me until I was in my 50s to finally say, that's not me.
Wow. Thank you. This is what I picture when you say that. It's like a little child in a 30-foot hole. What was it? What? Stupid, dumb, and ugly. Think about the hole we put a little kid in with our words. And that little kid is trying to get to life, trying to have purpose and significance, and doesn't know what to do because I'm stupid, dumb, and ugly. There's power in our words. And the scripture was clear that it was read, is like that has a shape to the course of a life that can go to destruction, but it also has the power to shape a life to bring new life, to bring hope, and to bring dreams that are true. So to cast this child into a whole new trajectory on life, and we have the power to do that. Now think about this, so anytime that we set a new course out, right? Like, think about your life right now. There's something that you want to take on. There's a new way of being. There's something, a goal that you have, a dream that you're chasing. So you're on a new course of direction. What's going to happen when that happens? You can be a skilled captain, as it says, but you're going to face resistance. So that same verse says, a small rudder on a huge ship in the hands of a skilled captain sets a course in the face of what? The strongest winds. There's going to be these gusts of resistance. Anytime you go, okay, I'm going this direction. And this is the direction that I want to take on because I believe it's, well, God called me to. And then all of a sudden, these strong winds come. And I want you to get this. I want my life to go a certain way. So let's look at the idea of improving my health and fitness. And you can raise your hand to this. How many of you would like a breakthrough in your health and fitness? Anyone? Just keep them up for a second. Be proud. If you want any kind of breakthrough in your health and fitness. All right. So I have an audience. What are the voices of your resistance? Just yell them out. You have this course, right? We did this the other week where I'm like, I want to get my health and my fitness in order, and it's going this way, and I'm going to take a step toward that, right? I'm a skilled captain. But what are the voices telling me, like taking me off this course? What are your voices of resistance? What is it? I'm going to fail, and I'll add again. I'm too tired, right? Snooze button. Exercise is boring. I'm too old. What other voices? I got no time. I'm too busy. Right? And go ahead. The bagel, I know it. That's true. I avoid that table. Yes, that's why we do it once a week, right? If we can get the other 6 days good, it's okay to celebrate on a Sunday. What else? What other? Those are resistance. No confidence in yourself. That might even be a result of, right? In the sense of I'm not doing it anymore. I used to feel good about myself, have a sense of confidence, and now I let myself go. I don't like anyone to see me exercising. Yeah. So that those are all the resistance that comes our way. And it just keeps happening, keeps happening. I put down this one, like, I deserve that piece of cake. You ever have that one? Like, I've had a long week, and I deserve that piece of cake, that triple fudge, the Greg's Special. You know what I'm talking about? I know you're from Bristol, Warren, but Greg's Special coming up. How about Dunkin' Donuts? Don't raise your hand, but Dunkin' has a hold on us, right? Oh my gosh, we can't go buy a Dunkin' without getting that. When I drink coffee, it's like extra, extra, extra. And then I see on the thing, it says like 6 sugars and 6 creams. I'm like, oh my God, that's what I'm putting in myself. You know what I mean? Like, and it just keeps me coming back for more, doesn't it? We run on Dunkin'. That's what they tell us, right? And we run like beep on Dunkin'. You know what I mean? Like, we really don't run well on Dunkin'. But these are the things. Now, what I want you to get, there's 2 things I want you to get this morning. One is this. I want to kind of mess with your minds a little bit and say the importance of mid-course corrections. So you have this image of this ship, and we somehow think life is supposed to go easy. Like, I woke up today feeling great, and I'm on a whole new course of action. So everything should just go smoothly. I got God on my side, right? And I take one step and like, oh my gosh, I give up. But we feel like that's a problem. And what I want us to get this morning is, wait a second, maybe I could make my life about mid-course correction. See that as normal, and see that as discipleship, and see that as a good thing. Because what happens is when I face resistance, sometimes we have this thing of like, what I resist persists. You ever heard that? So instead, who cares? Like, say, yeah, I took a step in the wrong direction, right? I was going this way, I took a step, and then I took a step this way. I had a piece of cake. It's all right. My next step, go back in this direction again. And just keep thinking, and think about a ship on a 10-mile course. See, sometimes we think about these courses in our life, and we have such a small view of it, a short-term view, because we live in a society where instant gratification, I want it now. But wait a second, I'm on a 20-mile journey. And so if I take one little step off course, it's no big deal. I'm still heading in the right direction. Just make a mid-course adjustment. And this is what I want us to start practicing. Why do we just give up? Value small adjustments and mid-course corrections every single day. Because to Lori's point, like, then I'm not a failure. You know what I mean? Think about that. I think I'm a failure because I took one piece of cake, or I said one wrong thing to my child. I don't know a single person who hasn't said the wrong thing to their children. Now, the thing I would ask you to do is apologize. Right? When I would say the wrong thing, I'd be like, whoa, 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 like it would hurt. And I'd be like, all right, I got to come back when I can actually say it well. And then I come back and I apologize and just say, here's a mid-course correction. I blew that. And I make sure they know I love them. Right? So this is the idea to make this a normal thing. And to me, this is a picture of grace. But I think what happens is we all want it all at once with no work on our part. As if there's not going to take effort to face the resistance. And I think it's just the opposite. When resistance comes, it takes something. It takes something inside of us to really want that course direction. The thing that we're really going after, it's got to matter. And then I just simply put this, it takes repeated action. Just keep repeating action, make that mid-course adjustment. Brene Brown, I'll read you a quote. She's a leading sociologist. And she says this, we live in a culture that says things should be fun, fast, and easy. This is the culture we're raising our kids in, just so you know. It should just be fun, fast, and easy. This is what the next generation believes. Do you get that? So whenever there's resistance, she does a story. I wasn't going to say this, but she does a story. A friend of her comes to her. She's a swim coach. And so she had an idea as a swim coach. This is Brene Brown, it's a friend, and her friend's coming to her now for some advice because the coach was getting in trouble by the parents. You all have, if you have kids in sports, don't be that parent, but we all are. Okay, so she's in that thing, they're swimming, and so she wanted them to do that. You know when you get to the end of the pool, you have to do that flip turn? So she gets it. She would not let them leave the pool until they did 5 flip turns correctly. So as they do it, and then she'd give you the thumbs up or a thumbs down. And the parents were in an uproar about this because they'd come in and they'd see she didn't say anything. She just gave the thumbs down. So the child doesn't know better. Just gonna do 5 more. Thumbs down. Do 5 more. Thumbs down. So some of us are reacting, going, that's right, that coach should not do that. Some of you going, we're so soft as a society, what's wrong with us, right? So you're all over different places. The point is, as that child's doing the 5 flip turns, that child is learning something. Life isn't fast, easy, and fun. Is it? I mean, let's face it. Life has resistance. So what we're teaching our kids and what we're putting them through matters. So here it is. 5 times, this little child got the thumbs down. But here comes the 6th time, and the kid does a little thing. What do you think this child now thinks of? Hard work. I can do it. Stick with it. Perseverance. Thumbs up. It's worth it. Look what I did. A sense of accomplishment. Man, this next challenge. He's getting a little tall, a little chest a little further out. I got this. Right? And this is what God is trying to say to us as his children, saying, go out and try something big with your life. And guess what? There's going to be resistance. Go out and try something. The next day. But the next day, God smiles down and you keep going. Thumbs up. The next day, thumbs up. The next day, thumbs down. The next day, thumbs down. The next day, thumbs up. Keep at it, church. Keep at it, church. You're going to face resistance. We all do. Mid-course corrections, make that a part of your discipleship. Make that part of your everyday practice that says, this is a part of my spiritual development. And when I get the thumbs down, it's not internalizing it as if there's something wrong with me. And that's what some of us do. We look at ourselves and say, something's wrong. And that I'm a failure. And I keep reliving those words that were told me earlier in life. That's so key. Now, the second point I want you to get is do what you say. And this is a sense of integrity. And I want you to hear this phrase, without integrity, nothing works. Going back to Scripture, James 3. If you could find someone whose speech was perfectly true, you'd have a perfect person in perfect control of life. Integrity isn't about getting it right every time, but it is about honoring my word. So when I give word to something, again, I want to go back to logos, right? John 1, when we talk about logos, the word, it matters. New course, new direction, new dreams, new goals. Go after it. And as we're going after it, when I don't fulfill on my word, I simply honor my word. I'm never going to get it perfectly right. But I don't internalize that as failure. I simply say, you know what, I blew it. But here's a few little things that I want you to catch, because I've been doing this a lot in my own life, and I'm catching myself, and I feel like there's this huge floodlight on my life right now, right? God's just like, boom. It's because I'm really trying to make integrity a part of my life. When I say integrity, some of you hear like a morality thing, like somehow I'm a good or bad person, whether or not I'm integrous. That's not what I'm talking about. Integrity simply be, did I honor my word, okay? So I give my word to something. So I told you I was going to be there 11 o'clock, and I showed up at 11 o'clock. Okay, that's a small thing. I say I will clean the bathroom by Thursday night, and then I clean the bathroom by Thursday night. Are you laughing? Okay. Phil, if you notice, she'll give one.
That's because she has a drink in the other.
by this Thursday night, though, I could have a double thumbs up. It's up to me. Right? That's a good thought. Right? All right, so let me continue. I'll get these 5 things done on my to-do list today by 2 p.m. I get them done. Those aren't huge things in and of themselves, right? But what if every time I didn't uphold my word, that I put a little rock in my backpack? And I'm telling you, once you become aware of this, it's like, holy crud. Every day I got more and more rocks. I'm late a lot, just so you know. It might be 2 minutes. I'm like the 5-minute rule, right? Not too bad. Usually the 5-minute rule. Yesterday was worse. There was a thumbs down yesterday, right? But the backpack gets heavy after a month. You know what I mean? And then, here's what I want you to get. The power of your word matters. Because I'm only talking about things that aren't even that important right now. Now I'm going to talk about things that really matter. Talk about when you give word to something that you want to create something new. You want to create your marriage to go to just like, you want to have the amazing marriage. You want to have your finances amazing. You want to have your health amazing. Whatever it is that matters to you, that area of your life, you want to start a new ministry. You want to do whatever. Now your word matters. And when you put forth your word, are you the kind of person that lives up to it? Oh my gosh, it's like, yes, I gave word to that, and now I'm going to do it. Let me give you an example. Remember, without integrity, nothing works. I had an example where it's like, hold on, I want to get ahead of myself. All right, let me read this verse to you first. James 3, verse 4. Now, love this verse. Take a picture of this verse. Bring it with you. A word out of your mouth may seem of no account, but it can accomplish nearly anything. I think God looks at us and says, I think very highly of you. Will you give word to something worthwhile? When you give your word to something worthwhile, now you put yourself at risk, don't you? You put yourself, I'm going to get the thumbs up, the thumbs down. That's going to happen. So I have to put myself out there a little bit and be willing to risk it. But that's where we learn how to trust God. Here's a rhetorical question. How many of us only give our word to things we know we can follow through on? I do this all the time. I believe I can do X, Y, and Z, so I'll give word to that. The things I'm unsure of, you won't hear me see. I don't tell Diana I'll have the bathroom leave by 2. I mean, on Thursday night. I don't even give word to it. Because I know I'm going to fail miserably. She wished I gave word to it, but I don't. I'm telling you, give word to something. So I didn't give word. I've been doing for 6 months it's been. And I started a mentor program for kids aging out of foster care, right? When they turn 18, we talked about this a little bit. I've said it to you for months. You know, I've yet to give a date. Giving your word means nothing if I don't say by when. I'm going to have a mentor program up and running by when? By September 1st. Now all of a sudden, I look at where I'm at and I look at what I need to do, and now I'm in that. I'm laser focused. I'm going to get there. So I gave word to that. And in between, I practice all the time. I show up on time, and when I don't, I apologize and honor my word. And when I say I'm going to do something around the house, I do it. That's why it matters, because now when I'm really up to something that's going to change the lives of 118-year-olds, and it's going to change the course of their direction, now my word really has weight and it matters. Let me ask you this. How many of you want to be debt-free? Raise your hand, seriously. How many of you want to be debt-free? Let me ask you this. How many of you are in debt? How many of you are in debt? Be proud. Okay, so we have a lot of folks in debt. It's an area to work on. How many of you, don't raise your hand to this, how many of you that have debt want to be debt-free? You don't have to raise your hand to that. My quick answer is, I'm going to be a little bit not nice. No, you don't. You know why I know that? What is it? Because I'm still in debt, I'm still, right? So I give word, I pay lip service. I don't give word. I give lip service to this idea of being debt-free because it's a good idea. I would love to have the freedom of no more debt. So if you really want to be debt-free, here's what we can do. We don't have enough time to actually go through this enough, but if you said this, do you feel like you're going to have resistance? I want to be debt-free by the end of this year. By January 1, I want to be debt-free. Between now and then, what am I going to do? And then you map it out. And you say by, what do we know, August, by September 15th, I have $5,000 of debt. I'm going to pay off 1,000. I'm going to pick up 2 extra jobs because I gave my word by January 1st, I'm debt-free. But you know what we do? We kind of coast through life. And then the resistance comes and I'm like, you know what? It's okay to have a little bit of debt. And that little bit of debt, what happens is I gave word to the small things, or I didn't give word to the small things, that 1,000 turns into 2,000. That 2,000 turns into 3,000. The average household in America has $9,000 worth of debt. It's because the little things didn't matter. So what I want us to do as a church is to say, what are we going to give our word to? So we talk about action steps. So what's the thing in your life that really matters to you? And put it on the calendar. And say, I'm going to have a phenomenal marriage. By January 1st, I'm going to have a whole new marriage. What does it look like between now and then? How do I wake up differently? What do I put into practice? Right? And I give word to it, and I guarantee you, as God gets involved in that, and that ship starts to go on this course, you're on a new course of life and direction, but resistance is going to come. The strong winds are going to blow. And it's like, make those mid-course corrections because you've given word that your marriage is going to be in a different place. Your finance is going to be in a different place. Your health is going to be in a different place because I gave word to it and I spoke it into being. And I believe that God actually wants us to actually practice this. So I'm asking you as a church, if you take on one thing this week, be thinking about it. And come back next week and maybe we can have some people that say, you know what, this is what I'm taking on. I'm going to take on this, and my by when is blah. And then don't make yourself wrong for it, right? If we keep taking mid-course corrections, it's like I'm going, and then I set it aside. It's okay. But something happens when we declare something before God. We give Him something to work with. And I think there's power in His Word. And let me just finish it by saying this. A word out of your mouth may seem of no account, but it can accomplish nearly anything. I'll say it again, a word out of my mouth can accomplish nearly anything. Think about your words and how they matter, and the power that they have to bring forth life, to change the course of direction. And let's get practicing that. Chuck, can you come? Who has the mic? Chuck, grab it. Oh, yeah.
Well, thank you. Just bow your heads. Lord, as your Holy Spirit just moves over us, Lord, today, as we go forward this week, Lord, I would just ask that we commit to making our words match our actions, that we make that we have integrity to make that happen, Lord, that we lean on others, in our families, in our church family, that we ask them to hold us accountable and us hold them accountable, Lord, that we pour into your word, that we be filled, Lord. In Jesus' name, amen.